Alright, well, we're going to try to talk about Jojo again. We've already tried once. Ugh. We, uh, we didn't do so well the first time because of the audio glitch that we have where it just randomly stops recording audio. And that's the reason why I have the video going at the same time with this audio. But yes, we have a kind of exclusive content here where I want to talk about Jojo and his bizarre adventures. While drinking alcohol. Because I got through the first part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure just like probably about like an hour ago. I'm already on like part 2, probably episode 2-ish, 2 or 3-ish. I kind of just want to kind of go through like episode 1 and talk about episode 1 and what happened in episode 1, or not episode 1, fucking part 1 of this old school anime. Now, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to me is something that I've recently only really want to look into. I tried to get into it probably a few years ago, but it didn't work as well as I thought it would. But yes, it is a amazing anime that has me slightly hooked to it a little bit. I don't know why, but just I'm kind of hooked to it. It's like I just want to keep on going. What happens with this fucking story of Jojo and his descendants? But season 1 is kind of like the huge opener and the huge type of thing that happens with Jojo, where it starts off first with you meet Jojo. Jojo's this kind of piece of shit, like rich kid who's kind of spoiled, but he thinks he's the hero in the story. And well, first off, it starts out with his father and his mother. His mother actually dying in the first little bit of scene, and then we get the part where Jojo's father is saved by this old hermit thief who steals his this ring. It hasn't been explained yet as to what the ring actually is yet, but unless I totally missed something. But yes. So steals the ring. Jojo's father wakes up from being dead, but not really dead, at the time of this hermit thief's kind of like, oh hey, like I'm here to actually save you, like, so here you go. And Jojo's father says like, well, I'm in debt to you. Please feel free to repay this debt anytime you want. So, going to the future, Jojo is like a teenager now, and he is a piece of shit, spoiled brat kind of guy, where I feel as though like the townsfolk kind of are like with him in playing along with him, especially like later on down the line once you meet Dio, kind of just like, oh yeah, we're kind of cool with Jojo, so we'll pretend he's good at fighting when he's good at this, good at that. And Dio, of course, is a huge wake-up call for Jojo in the first couple episodes. So yes, there is a antagonist called Dio, who is the son of the thief that pretty much tried to scavenge the wreckage of Jojo's father's uh, carriage wreck at the beginning of episode 1, scene 1. But yeah, it's oh, it's me trying to describe an anime while not at all sober, which is kind of very hard to do right now. But yes, so Dio receives a letter from his father. It says, "Hey, go join a JoJo Star clan." Not JoJo Star, but Joestar. Joestar clan, and ensure that you are accepted within this family. Well, what Dio's purpose is Dio's like, hell yeah, I get to live in life of luxury and just pretty much take over this kid's lifestyle, in which he tries to do, which Dio completely fucks with JoJo's life. He awakens him a sense of, you know, adversary, which JoJo hasn't had before. And in the first couple episodes, Dio just completely fucks over JoJo's life, to where JoJo is completely demoralized by everything that Dio does. Dio kisses his girlfriend before JoJo ever does. Dio is completely obliterates him in a boxing match, breaking his face pretty much in the match. And near the end of episode, like either 2 or 3, Dio just like kills his dog. Like, I am absolutely serious with you. Just kills his dog. And I'm watching this in mainly Japanese while I'm sober. I'm reading subtitles, and it's really super fucked up. Like, you can't just like go there and kill someone's dog and be like, oh yeah, like, well, this guy, as you can tell, is a complete and total antagonist. But yes, we break there in between, I think, the next episode and episode 3 and 4, if I remember right, and we time skip. So we break down part 2 of the first part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, in which we do time skip into the future. We time skip into like the late 1900s. I think 1988, if I remember correctly, where Jack the Ripper is apparently running rampant throughout the UK. In which, by the way, this is all taking place in the UK, in like London, pretty much, or at least outside London. So you'll see a lot of what do you call it? Cities and towns that are in London. I think it really only takes place in like 2 provinces, or whatever you want to fucking call it, provinces, locations of London. But yes, we do get a brief glimpse into where Jojo and Dio are pretty much on rugby field. And in the rugby field, they are completely inseparable. They are amazing together. They are great. They're fantastic. Oh my god, I can't believe that these two characters are working together after we just saw an episode like 3 or 2, whatever it was, where Dio fucking kills Jojo's dog. And this is a time scale of like 8 years. So we know that 8 years have passed since Jojo's dog has been completely incinerated, to where Dio is like, oh yeah, pass me the ball, homie. In which we find out later on that, you know, it's not really, it's kind of it's more of a facade than anything else. But yeah, as we start kind of breaking down as to what Dio and Jojo have done within their span of 8 years, from being younger teenagers into being young adults. Dio has gone to law school and all this other stuff, and Jojo has pretty much picked up archaeology, in which I know I didn't say it in the first part of this video, but there are stone masks, in which I think are kind of Aztec death masks, if I kind of understand correctly. If I'm wrong, then let the Joe Bros be very hateful in his comments. But it seems as though it seems like a kind of a death mask kind of thing of, you know, it's where it's like, oh yeah, like it's they have these death masks that they put on, and they gain some sort of power. But that's a little bit, that's in the next couple episodes that we get into the whole death mask thing. But yes, Dio and Jojo have come to a point now where their father, I'm gonna say their father now, because they're pretty much brothers at this point. Their father has come down with some sort of sickness, and this little arc here is where Jojo is investigating what's going on with his father, and he finds a letter that was made to Dio by his father, made to Dio by Dio's father, and I believe it says that, like, pretty much the same symptoms that Dio's father was going through is now happening to Jojo / Dio's father currently, in which where you know, coughing, also like they probably have COVID or something like that, but yeah, so Jojo has now kind of linked through his research, and accidental research as it is, to where Jojo's father and Dio's father are pretty much dealing with the same exact thing. So Dio goes back to London, in which in London he gets attacked by a whole gallery of just evil villains, I would say. Like, at this point, like, Dio and Jojo have not fought each other since episode 2 or 3, in which Dio completely kicks Jojo's ass. But Dio again has the upper hand in these couple episodes, because he knows, you know, he's pretty much the one that's been poisoning his father, and he says that, you know, he's going to inherit the fortune that Jojo is rightfully made for, because he feels that he is kind of instilled for it rather than Jojo. But yes, Jojo completely like goes through this gallery of, at least it starts out with these three assassins that come out to kill him. He's in kind of a lower area of England and London, where there's thieves and all this other good stuff, where it's like, oh yeah, don't go over there, they're gonna kill you. But Jojo is looking for the apothecary that gave Dio this poison that has been killing his father and killed Dio's father in the beginning couple episodes. So this is where we meet, let's see, what is it, Robert E.O. Speedwagon. I think it's Robert E.O. Speedwagon. I have to look it up. I don't know. Again, this is alcohol. This is drunk review. This is drunk review of an anime. You know, sometimes you might not remember everything you've thought of for the past couple days. So he meets Robert E.O. Speedwagon. I'm gonna call Robert E.O. Speedwagon because I think that's what it is. It's a made to kind of emphasize of REO Speedwagon. But yeah, so meets him. REO Speedwagon throws his top hat, and at this point I realized like the gore in this anime is protected behind a whole bunch of shade, which is great for me because I'm not really much of a gore guy, but it really does a lot for when you see the blocking of Jojo, and REO Speedwagon's like fucking his crazy hat thing has pierced into Jojo's arms, and it hasn't really affected him. He's like, oh my god, like, oh, like, this is amazing, like I've never seen anything like happen like this. But he earns, which is really weird to say, but he earns Speedwagon's acceptance, and he completely, like, REO Speedwagon is just like, cool, I'll follow this guy to death, like, don't even fucking worry about it, I'll just completely go on with him. And then we get back to the manor, where we find it completely dark. It's the point now where we know that Jojo has just beaten the assassins over in the London area, and we're back at the manor. Alright, so on to the part 3 of part 1 that we're going to do here. I wasn't expecting this video to go on for this long, but you got a couple nice little cuts in this episode. So get back to the manor. Jojo's there. He confronts Dio. I forget if they have a fight at this point. I don't remember. It's been like a day or so since I've seen everything that happened in this part 1. But yes, there is a point now as to where Dio is now officially caught by Jojo, because Jojo finds out that there is that Dio has been poisoning Jojo's father and he has given Jojo's father the antidote. And in this part, we're going to talk about here until the kind of conclusion to this little arc. As we've been kind of going over the these sort of arcs that have been going through season 1. So we find out that Dio has been poisoning Jojo's father to ensure that he gets the inheritance of the Joestar legacy. It doesn't work that well. Dio comes out and says like, "Oh yeah, pretty much, I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna kick your butt. I'm gonna kick your butt, Jojo. Like, and I'm gonna kill your father in the process of this." And we get to the point where Jojo's father is now, kind of a little bit standing up, like, "Yeah, I've got the antidote. What are you gonna do about it? Like, I've been recovered now." And Ario Speedwagon is there, by the way. He's come along with Jojo because he's earned respect of Ario Speedwagon, and he goes, "Oh well, you gave this poison to his father." All this other garbage. Ario Speedwagon, by the way, becomes a nice friend of Jojo. Okay, so we get to this point now where it's a standoff between Jojo and his father, and pretty much all of the marshal, or whatever you want to call him, his entourage, and Dio straight uses the death mask at this point. He has used a death mask. He says "Oh, it's your bloodline that is able to activate this mask. I've done my research. You've done your research with your archaeology shit." And there you have it. It just he stabs Jojo's father, in the process spilling Jojo's father's blood onto the mask, in which he puts it on, and in which we've learned from past episodes that when you spill blood onto this mask, it kind of brings you back to life in this sort of vampire-like being. Now, this is where I was like, wasn't expecting vampire shit in this anime, because I'm expecting JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to be like this whole big old thing of comedy and funniness, and it's this entire first chapter of JoJo is all about vampirism in England, pretty much, including Jack the Ripper, which we've kind of skipped over, but we don't really need to go over the Jack the Ripper shit, not yet at least. We'll go over that a little bit later on down the line, but yeah. So the mask is activated when Dio puts it on, smears blood on his face, and the mask turns him into this absolute godlike creature that from this point you don't see a lot of gore, but you subtly see the amount of death that Dio can just bring along on these people in these people's lives, where he just straight cuts a fool like here. This is where he cuts him. Like, this guy's like half capitated. I don't even know what you call it. Like, this is like decapitation. This is like half decapitation. And I'm just like sitting there going like, oh my god. Like, what is this? What is this anime? What have I got myself into? So, Dio begins completely murking all these like these police officers, these police Scotland Yard people, and he squares up now against pretty much Jojo, right? If I remember right, Jojo kind of gets one up on him, but it doesn't last very long. You know, Jojo ends up getting stabbed in the arm with a blade, like a spear of some sorts, and he gets to the point where the entire mansion is burning down, and I'm sorry if I'm forgetting some key points, but again, this is alcohol review, so you're gonna forget some key points. There comes a point where the manor is now burning down. Jojo's father is laying on a pyre, pretty much, burning to death, and we get to the point where REO Speedwagon, by the way, REO Speedwagon is a excellent narrator in expositional dialogue, because he's just sitting there like narrating every little thing that happens. Even like we'll talk about kind of like part 2 later on, probably tomorrow night. But he just is sitting there going like, "Hey, here's what's happening right now, and I hope that you, the audience, are realizing what's happening right now." And he'll just kind of spat along. He's pretty much the dynamic narrator throughout the entire arc. Whether or not he returns, I don't know. I haven't made it through part 2 yet. I don't know what happens in part 2, but this is kind of what happens in part 1. So, he's kind of like just going through like, oh my god, like here's what's happening throughout this entire scene. And what ends up happening is that Dio and Jojo end up on a rooftop where his entire mansion is pretty much burning down. And keep in mind here, this is like 5 or 6 episodes in, so we're already in the 5th episode. Jojo's lost his entire mansion, and we're at the point where Dio has pretty much turned into a vampire in this lore, and he's pretty much immortal. Like anything that Dio throws at him, he's been able to heal. REO Speedwagon has shot Dio through the head, and it has not affected him at all. He's been able to heal the wound. I believe that Jojo has already stabbed him through the hand as well, and he's already healed this. But we already know that Dio has some sort of supernatural powers because of this mask. And the fight ensues on the rooftop, in which REO Speedwagon's kind of narrating this entire thing, but Dio and Jojo had this fight where they fall into the manor, and of course, being the villain of this goddamn series and the most amazing villain, Dio holds on to the grip of the wall, and it just so happens that that Jojo happens to catch a spear onto the wall and hops up and catches Dio on the leg with his belt. So, unfastens his belt, throws it up there, catches him, and pulls him down. And pulls Dio down into the flame abyss of the manor, in which, again, is on fucking fire. Just everything's burning all around him. And we get to this some moment where it seems like that Jojo has sacrificed his life for the greater good, and he explodes. Everything explodes, and turns out that Jojo is just fine. Jojo has exploded out into the field where RDO Speedwagon is chilling, because RDO Speedwagon is completely useless and just narrated at this point. RDO Speedwagon, I feel like, is completely useless in this entire series, pretty much. But I don't know yet. Maybe he has a redemption arc. I don't fucking know. But RDO Speedwagon has gotten to a point now where he's now got Jojo there, and that's kind of the end of the first part, the first kind of arc, I'd say, of the first part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. We end on, actually what happens here is Dio is found by the Asian apothecary that gave him the poison, gave him all the stuff. So Dio is now trying to revitalize himself, because he is found, because he's technically immortal now because of vampire blood. But we're going to end it right there for this kind of review slash overview of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Who knows? May this one make it big, because this is kind of an overview and of JoJo. Because, we all kind of want a review and overview of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I don't know, maybe I'm that kind of guy who will sit down and actually put this in perspective of, feeble minds everywhere, these fucking new anime nerds. But I will go and cut it there for right now, and we'll continue on in the next episode of the second part of part 1 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So for right now, but fucking Jesus Christ, alcohol and microphones do not mix. I will see you guys next episode. Bye, everybody.